Hey everybody, I'm Eric, and today I watched WWE Monday Night Raw episode 1387, NXT episode where'd that go? Episode 541 and SmackDown episode 1062, all the week of Christmas December 23rd for Raw, the 25th for NXT, and the 27th for SmackDown. I have not watched 205 Live since it was just a best of compilation episode, but I'll probably do an episode about the both of those maybe, I don't know, because they have another one. Maybe it was this last week. Maybe they already did it. Or maybe it's this coming week. I don't know. But anyway, here we go. Talking about all of these. I'm recording this on the following Monday, so I'm going to go real quick, especially for Raw here. I have pulled up the post Raw discussion thread. The main post, or the text post part of it, is by user Darren716. So it's the post WWE Raw 12/23/2019 show discussion thread. So he's got the list of all the matches and then some important notes about what happened. So this episode, I did enjoy it. There were a lot of squash matches. This episode was filmed the week before, so we had a United States Championship match. I kind of figured that the championship wouldn't change hands, although a couple of days later, it did change hands at the Madison Square Garden show. So I think it was on Thursday of this week. Andrade faced Rey Mysterio and won the championship there. So I'm excited to see if he does his own version of the open challenge type of thing. Andrade versus everybody, it's going to be great. But anyway, we'll get to that. That was the main event of SmackDown, was Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio. AOP attacked, which led to a disqualification, and beatdown ensued. Let's see what happened after that. Oh, right. Okay, the best part of this episode was that they're beating him up, all that. They ended up over at the announcer's desk, and Joe he doesn't actually stand up to them. He stands up to them by sitting down. So he's not literally, he does end up standing up, but he basically says, like, if I stand up, it's going to be a problem for you or something like that. And he does, but in the AOP start to go after him, and says, like, no, leave him alone. And he, like, kind of apologizes, whatever. And then as he's walking away, Seth goes, finish him. And they put him through a table. Amazing. This is a really, really good ending to this episode. I enjoyed it. And yeah, Samoa Joe is just awesome. It was announced that somebody will be taking his place this week as he is back in action, gonna lead us into Royal Rumble. It's gotta be Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe at the Royal Rumble, not for a title or anything, just them kicking each other's butts. That's gonna be great. Why did I say butts? I should have just said asses. But anyway, that was the best thing about the episode. But let's go quickly through through all of the matches. I don't remember this at all, but Kevin Owens faced Mojo Rawley. And with I think maybe I fell asleep, like, during the first part of this episode, and then I turned it back on. And I was like, okay, I will watch this after all. So I think because of that, I missed a good portion of this first hour. But Kevin Owens defeated Mojo Rawley in a no DQ match after a powerbomb through a table. This is all going off the match results from this post on Reddit. Akira Tozawa defeated R-Truth via roll-up to become the 24/7 champion. Bobby Lashley beat Cedric Alexander with a spear. I think some stuff happened with Rusev there. I don't remember at all. Drew McIntyre defeated Zack Ryder via the Claymore. Lots of squash matches, like I said. Aleister Black hit the Black Mass on a local talent. Buddy Murphy hit a Murphy's Law on that same local talent. I was like, anything you can do, I can do better. Ricochet defeated Tony Nese with the Recoil. I think that was actually a pretty significant match, if I remember. It wasn't as much... It kind of was a squash match, but it wasn't as much as the rest of the night had been at that point. But Santa Claus hit Akira Tozawa with a sack and got the 24/7 championship. I don't know who's playing Santa Claus, but is WWE.com, are they keeping track of all of this? I'm going to look it up. 24/7 championship. I guess it had mistakenly listed it as retired, but it is not. All right, there have been 81 championship reigns so far. Oh my gosh, it's changed so many times since Mike Rome won it momentarily. Most, like a quarter of these have happened since Christmas. Like 70 through 8, there have been 11 title changes since Christmas. That's hilarious. But since this episode, okay, so so do these technically, what is the... Okay, okay, these were played as having happened on December 22nd. So R-Truth, he held the title for 20 days before there was a change here. So that's pretty impressive. That's the longest single run of it. The previous longest run was by Samir Singh. It was 18 days. But anyway, they're on a New York City sightseeing trip. That's right. Akira Tozawa won it, then Santa Claus won it, then R-Truth won it. And since then, Samir won, Sunil won, R-Truth, Samir, Mike Rome, Sunil, R-Truth, Samir, R-Truth, Sunil, Samir, R-Truth. So, we'll see what happens on Raw tonight, next time. Okay, Charlotte faced Chelsea Green. Her friend Deonna Purrazzo appeared on the previous episode. Charlotte won via figure 8. The OC defeated Randy Orton and the Viking Raiders via phenomenal forearm. And I forget who that was delivered to. Let's see if they say it doesn't look like they said anything about it. Oh, there was a Liv Morgan segment. She says, if you trust someone other than yourself, you give that person all the power. Now it's up for her to decide what she is, and she is anything but typical. So, when is this going to pay off? Is she going to debut her new self in the Royal Rumble and win it? That could be pretty exciting. And you know what? That's my new number one pick. I have been thinking about, Ronda Rousey returning and winning the Royal Rumble and all that. She doesn't need to win a Royal Rumble to get a match at WrestleMania. She just needs to come back, and she'll have it. She'll challenge Becky, and away we go, etc. But anyway, we'll see what happens with all that. Eric Rowan defeats another local talent via the Iron Claw. I forget what the trickery was, how he tried to get into the cage. Yeah, I don't remember. But I'm enjoying all the different ways that these local guys are trying to get a look inside the cage there. R-Truth pins Santa after he trips and becomes the champion once again. And then Rusev defeats No Way Jose via Machka kick. And then, like I said, Rey Mysterio retained his championship when the AOP attacked and disqualified Seth Rollins, and then the thing with Samoa Joe. So, yeah, that was Raw. It was pretty good from what I remember of it. That ending, especially, was just awesome. So, we'll see what happens next on Raw. This was surprisingly eventful, I thought, for being a pre-taped episode. The ending was just so great. No title changes, of course. There's only that one. There were tons of title changes, but the 24/7 title. But yeah, I liked it. I liked this episode. I also really liked this week's NXT. So we opened up with Roderick Strong with an open challenge, which was answered by Austin Theory. Roderick Strong won via Stronghold, despite having his bells jingled. That's all I wrote down. This match was awesome. Go watch this match. Also, watch Shotzi versus Bianca. I'll get to that in a second. Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Jack Gallagher. A great match. Swerve won. Tainara versus Candice LeRae. Candice won that via a springboard moonsault. That's a pretty good match. I'd say that was one of the better Tainara matches that I've seen. They both did a great job there. Dijakovic versus Bronson Reed. This match was great. Dijakovic won via choke bomb off of the post. So, yeah, that was awesome. Dijakovic can't be throwing around Keith Lee now that they're friends. So now he has to throw around another huge guy. And Bronson Reed fits the bill. Excuse me. Then Shotzi Blackheart makes her NXT debut to fight Bianca Belair. Some awesome sequences throughout this match. Great moves from both of them. But Bianca gets the win in the end. And then our main event, Damian Priest Tony Nese versus Keith Leo Rush. The tag teams of Damian Priest and Tony Nese versus Keith Lee and Leo Rush. At one point, Tony Nese gets sent flying into Tom. That was a big whoopsie daisy. Then the team of Keith and Leo was accomplished. What was it? I forgot the beginning of that sentence as I was saying it. Keith and Leo won the match after Leo hit a final hour off of Lee's shoulders, hitting Tony Nese with that and getting the win. So this main event was awesome. It was kind of cool that this episode was split between episodes that they or matches that they filmed like the week before all the matches were filmed the week before, but half of them were at NXT in Full Sail, and then the other half of them were at SmackDown at the Barclays Center. So that must have been really cool for Barclays, especially since they didn't have 205 Live matches there. But I would imagine that would have been really exciting to see in person in the historically NXT Barclays Arena. All right, so that brings us to SmackDown episode 1062. I'm blazing right through this. This episode might end up being shorter than the Mandalorian finale episode, but I got sidetracked by a lot of things in that one. We open with Elias playing a tune that summarizes the events so far of 2019 and the weeks leading up to tonight. I thought that was great. And I really, really hope that this is used a lot. Like, I was really bummed out that Elias wasn't being used so much. And then we started doing these recap type things several months ago. It lasted for a few weeks, but then he went away again. And now he's back. And I hope that this opens every episode. It'd be great. We need Elias. Yes, we do. We start off with Daniel Bryan versus The Miz versus Baron Corbin, but Baron has a big old speech that Roman interrupts. Baron is dropped off of the throne and then dropped again by Roman. Taking out Baron demands the match be postponed because of this heinous attack that's been issued upon him. I don't know what I'm saying. So the match doesn't happen yet. Then we have Big E and Kofi and Braun Strowman versus Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn back in action for the first time in quite a while. Strowman pins Shinsuke after he gets hit by a pancake tray that they were trying to use against them. As Braun Strowman's music is playing, New Day says, cut the scary music off. This monster has a great set of hips. Get this dance and get these hips. And we see Braun Strowman dance. I think the loosest definition of dance that there might be. But that was pretty funny. Corbin is back getting checked out by the doctors. He's not cleared yet, and so it'll be a one-on-one match between Miz and Daniel Bryan. Otis brings Mandy a fruitcake in return for the great gift of a ham that he got last week, and Sonya bails on Mandy because Mandy had bailed on her the previous week when she was covered in Otis's sweat. We have Carmella versus Mandy Rose. At one point, Mandy yells to Carmella, "You'll never look like me." And Carmella yells back, "I don't want to look like you," and then slaps her. Or she might have slapped her first and then said that. Carmella won that match. I don't think it was with the Code of Silence, though. I think it was with... I don't know what move it was. But it was a pin. I'm pretty sure it was a pinfall. Then we had The Miz versus Bryan. That was interrupted when Corbin's crew attacked. And The Miz and Bryan go backstage as Corbin is being interviewed, and they attack him. And so the match is delayed again. We have the first moment of bliss in months with Nikki Cross, of course. And Alexa goes in for a hug and instead gets a chest bump or a body bump from Nikki, and that was very funny. But their guest is Lacey Evans. She says her piece about not messing with a mama bear and her cub, and then heads to the ring so that she won't be attacked from behind during this moment of bliss interview. But it backfires because while they were having all that fun on stage, Bailey and Sasha were beating up Dana backstage. They drag her out. And then in the match, Dana taps out to the bank statement. Then, back to Mandy. Dolph is there trying to flirt with her. He thinks the fruitcake is a gift for him, but then he steps on it when he learns it's from Otis. And then Otis happens upon the cake and is very, very sad to seeing it just squished on the ground because he wasn't watching the show. He would just assume that Mandy trashed it, and that's very sad. And then we have finally the main event: Daniel Bryan versus Baron Corbin versus The Miz. Dolph Ziggler interferes, but then so does Roman Reigns, and then it's a triple threat, so this doesn't cause a disqualification, unlike the rest of the night. But The Miz the Miz taps out to Daniel Bryan, and then Bray appears, says, "You're going to have so much fun. Are you willing to let me in?" Or let him in. And we get the yes chants from Daniel Bryan. So that match will happen at the Royal Rumble. I'm super excited for that. Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend again. It's going to be good. It's going to be real good. But because now it's The Fiend versus the old Daniel Bryan, I guess it would be, because he reverted back from the new. He was the new Daniel Bryan, but now he's the new Daniel Bryan. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens next on all three of these shows. Although this coming week, NXT is a year-end awards episode, as well as showing some great matches from takeovers throughout the year. So that is definitely, I'd say that's definitely worth checking out because the matches that they showed clips from, I assume those are matches that they're going to be. I forget what they are, but the ones that I was like, oh man, that is a great match. It'd be great to rewatch that. All those. So whatever they choose from any of the takeovers is going to be a whole lot of fun to watch. So I recommend checking that out, DVRing it at the very least, or, actually, I don't recommend, if you DVR it, I recommend doing that. I don't recommend watching NXT on Hulu because it's edited down. They cut it down to like an hour instead of an hour and 40 minutes. So that it's almost half of it that they cut out. So I recommend watching it on the WWE Network if you can't watch it live, or watching it on DVR and just, fast forward through the commercials. So anyway, that'll be next week's NXT. And I this is the last full week of 2019. I think I might make some changes to the show. What I talk about on the show, how often I do it, how I number the episodes, all of that kind of stuff. I think it will be brand new. I've been thinking about this for a while, but I wanted to finish out the year with this format of week 1, part 2, week 1, part 3, that kind of thing. Even though that's not how it's not, like, the titles of these episodes don't reflect that, but how I have the files numbered and all that kind of stuff. So it might affect what the actual episodes are as they come out each week or whatever. But just stay tuned. I'll still be talking about wrestling and other stuff. And right after this, I'm going to be posting an episode talking about Death Stranding, because I stayed up way too late yesterday. I didn't stay up playing the game, but I ended up staying really late after that, because then I was doing normal stuff afterwards, so I still ended up staying late. But I spent most of my Sunday playing Death Stranding, getting through the last so and so many chapters of it, or episodes of it. And so I'm going to do an episode talking about Death Stranding. So if you're interested, if you like that game, if you've played that game, well, stay tuned for that. Or if you're all interested in that, stay tuned for that in the next episode. That I'll probably start doing more episodes like that, and maybe non-podcast episodes, like more video. I'm definitely going to be doing more video in 2020. So stay tuned for all of that. And let me know what you thought about this last week of WWE stuff by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen. Stay safe out there in all the infinite multiverses, and I'll see you next time here on TIW Podcast. I was about to say Happy New Year, but I think I'm going to do an episode about tonight's Raw, and that is the actual last wrestling episode of the year. So I'll save it for them, but in case I don't, also Happy New Year anyway. I keep saying Happy New Year for the next month of shows, so there you go. Okay, that's it for now. Goodbye.